I don't think I've ever shared this before on YouTube. Ever since I started the game of golf, I always had the ability, quite naturally, to hit the ball further than most golfers. And when I was at my fastest, I was getting ball speeds of 200 miles an hour plus, and I was hitting drives that were totaling in the region of 370 to 380 yards, and I was able to do that fairly consistently. That's not where I live now. On the golf course, I have my kind of golf course swing, but I have the ability to jump up an extra 20 or 30 yards when I want to. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I do, and as I say, you can add these into your golf game. Right, let's get started. So I'm going to hit some drive, and we've got the data coming through, the full swing kit through my phone. You're going to see that on the screen, and I'm going to hit kind of a stock drive, just almost like a cruising speed drive. And I'm going to show you kind of 4 things that I do and have done over the years that you can use in your game to start to up that speed and up that distance. Now, I'm not expecting to get anywhere near 340 yards a day. I've got an aging body, it's cold, it's early morning, I'm getting my excuses in, but we should see those numbers go up as we do that. So let's just go ahead and hit one, and this is just, as I say, just me making a really smooth swing, not really focusing at all on speed and power, just almost like a cruising speed. I'll be very happy with that. It'll be down a fairway. What kind of numbers do we get? We can see ball speed there 156 and total 283. So I'd be very happy with that, and that's the kind of drive that I would hit now as I'm getting a little bit older. But what are the things that you can do? Well, the first thing I would really encourage you to do if you want a little bit more distance is be less precise. Sounds crazy, sounds like bad advice, but it really helped me. So if you've got any swing thoughts, maybe you're trying to change your takeaway, or your backswing, or your downswing, or whatever it may be, take those swing thoughts, throw them away. You're never going to achieve the distance and the speeds that you can if you're thinking internally about movements or different positions. It generally tends to slow you down. So let's get rid of those swing thoughts. The second thing I'd get you to do is be less precise about your target. Again, it sounds quite strange. Yes, you're going to pick a specific target. You're going to pick, let's say, the centre of the fairway, but don't be obsessed with that. The chances are, when you choose to do this and you choose to add a little bit more speed, you'll be doing that on a hole where there's a little bit of room. You know, maybe there's a par 5 and it's quite open. So the priority here isn't to focus on the centre of the fairway and be obsessed with getting the ball in the fairway, because what can often happen there is we get swings where we sort of guide the ball down and we kind of hold on to things because we're so worried about missing the fairway left or missing the fairway right. So when I wanted to add a little bit of distance, add a little bit of speed, I would get rid of my swing thoughts and I would be less precise. I'd be certainly focusing on where I wanted to go and I'd be visualising my ball flight, but I wouldn't want to be worrying myself with, I don't want to miss it left, I don't want to miss it right, what about if I go in the trees, what about if I go in the bunker? Those are all thoughts and ideas which put tension in your body, and we know that tension doesn't really relate to speed. And the final thing, just swing harder. Sounds so simple, but that's what I would do. I would just try and swing harder. So if I do that, if I get rid of my swing thoughts, we can hopefully get that 283 and we should be able to increase it a little bit. So no swing thoughts, less precise, and actually just hitting it a little bit harder. So what did we get? Did we see a jump up in ball speed? We did. And we saw an increase in total distance up to 303 yards. So that's the first thing. It's going to give you more distance straight away. Now the second thing I used to do, which massively helped me, and this was something I learned through a little bit of experimentation as a junior, just trying different things. And as I've become a coach and I've spent time with some great people, I've learned the science behind what I was doing and why it works so well. What I would do is I would actually put energy into my swing early, like right from the takeaway. And many golfers get told the opposite. You know, many golfers get told that if you want to hit it harder, you know, still make the takeaway and the backswing smooth and make sure the speed and the power is in the downswing. Well, what that does is it really massively influences your tempo. And if your tempo goes out, you're going to find that your dispersion gets bigger and you start to potentially create more speed, but you start to get bigger misses, and that's no good to anybody. So what I used to do is I used to really feel that my golf swing was started with a shift of my body, and there was lots of energy there. And I really want you to do the same. So here's what you can sort of think about as an idea and a concept. And I love this one. Take this one to the practice area. You're going to get some good results. This will make sense, so bear with me. I want you to imagine that the bottom of your driver head, so for me where it says QI 10 max, imagine that that part of your driver is stuck to the ground. Okay? And I want you to use your legs, your hips and your core to unstick the driver from the ground. So don't get tempted to use your wrists. Wrists are going to cause the takeaway to be snatchy. It's probably going to cause you to get quite narrow, and those are things which take away speed. I want you to think about using your legs, your hips and your core. So that would be almost like a bump this way. Now, Rory, best exposed to this. You watch Rory from face on, before the club moves, his body's moving. And again, I've spent some time with some great coaches. Steve Furlanger comes to mind. Great coach with the driver. He's measured this. This is what the best drivers of the golf ball do. They start with their body early. They put energy into the club. The other way you can sort of think about it is almost trying to put some bend in the club in that direction, because you're trying to move the grip, not the club head. So when I'm trying to hit the ball harder, I feel like I move my body earlier, and I feel like the grip gets pulled away before the club head. Unstick the driver head. What you're going to find is that puts more energy earlier. That gets you to shift your weight and your mass into that trail side earlier, and that's really helpful for power, and it's really helpful for when we come on to point number 3. But let's see if we can increase this further. We've got 303 yards, less precise, but now I'm also going to feel like I unstick that driver as my first move away. And again, it's pretty straight. And if you do this the right way, you will still hit the ball pretty straight. Do we get an increase? 298. I'm going to hit one more. I reckon I've got a little bit more in there. Felt better. That's got to be longer. 307. We've gone up again. Third thing I did, the third thing that you can do to get more speed, is get heavier as you start your downswing. Let me explain what I mean. Imagine I'm standing on 2 sort of bathroom scales that are giving me my weight. I'm just going to use easy number here. Let's say I weigh 100 kilograms. This would show 50 and this would show 50 if I was perfectly balanced. Now if I move my weight onto my lead side, this would show 100 because all of my body weight is through this left side. So you might have heard terms like move your weight in the golf swing or shift your weight to your lead side. It's not inaccurate, but it can be described a little bit better. What I would rather you do is, rather than getting to the top and thinking about taking that 100 kilograms or whatever it is and moving it to that left side, my thought process when I was really trying to achieve those high speeds was in transition to get this imaginary scale that I've got through my left foot to read as high a number as I can, way over 100. So what am I trying to do? Well, I'm simply not trying to just move my weight. I'm trying to push down into that lead side, trying to squeeze all my weight in under that left foot, and as I say, get that imaginary scale to shoot up and maybe read 150 to 200 kilograms. Again, we know that from the best drivers of the golf ball, we can measure this. They increase their body weight significantly as they start their downswing. So that was my third sort of swing thought, and this is something you can take straight to the golf course. It's just a great feeling. You get heavier into that lead side, which allows you to get lighter, which is a little preview as to what point number 4 is, but it's a great feeling for you. And think about what we've done here. That takeaway where we used energy in the body and we moved our weight to our trail side gives us much greater chance of then slamming that weight back down into that lead side and getting that imaginary scale to read that high number. So let's see if we can take 307 and increase it. So we're going less precise, shift early with more force, slam it down into that left side. Let's see what we can get. Not better. Did we get over 307? 323. Those numbers are jumping up now, which brings us on to our 4th point. Point number 4, you've got to jump, okay? What we've just done is put an incredible amount of pressure and force through that lead side. You've got to use that, okay? It's no good getting to here if we then stop our body and just go through with our arms. We're going to get narrow, the elbows might separate, and we're not going to get the speed out into the club head. You've got to use that energy and push upwards through to the follow through. So we have this feeling, or I had this feeling of almost getting heavier and then really pushing away from the ground. Okay, and that's why you see so many golfers who, well, number 1, have this really taut, extended follow through position. It's a great sign that you've done the right thing. But also, if you look at their feet, you know, they're not perfectly sort of static on the ground. There's movement and they're pushing, and even Scotty Scheffler, you know, number 1 in the world at the moment, lots of movement in the feet because he's pushing away from the ground. Why is that beneficial? Well, I've done this numerous times before, so I make no apologies. This is a great little demonstration, really going to open your eyes as to why this is so useful. if I hold my golf club like this, 2 fingers on the grip, club shaft is horizontal. If I let it swing, it will not reach horizontal the other side, okay? It hasn't got enough speed, hasn't got enough momentum, hasn't got enough energy to reach horizontal the other side. But if I, just with these 2 fingers, put an upward force on the grip at the right time, we do get it past horizontal. We get a lot more speed in that golf club because of, well, physics basically. So as the club's going down, I'm pulling up, it accelerates the club head, it travels further. And basically, the more I can push that grip up with force, the more I get that club going higher the other side. So the more I can put an upward force on the grip, the more speed I get in the golf club. So once we go into our lead side and we're heavier, when I push up away, that straightens my leg, it raises my shoulder, it raises my hand, which raises the grip, which does pretty much exactly what we just showed in that experiment. So it's a sequence of events, okay? It's going to be hard for me to push up if I haven't got my weight to my lead side early. It's going to be hard for me to get my weight to my lead side early if I make this movement with my hands and arms and then I move my weight late. So all of these things kind of follow on from one another. And if we get the right sequence, the speed is almost effortless. Like, you're going to have to put some effort in, but it doesn't feel like it's hard work. And that's the key. You should be able to feel that you can intentionally hit it harder and you get that boost of speed. 323. I reckon that's going to be pretty hard to beat with my aging body and dodgy back, but we'll see. We'll see what we can get. So 323. Let's see if we can get past it. Not with that one. We'll have another go. Got to be close. Got to be close. 320. Okay, so we didn't get up to 340, but drives of over 320 with range balls, I'm taking those. So 4 things that you can do on the golf course to increase your driver speed, increase your driver distance, and it's more fun when you do that as well.